that's the kind of Future that I think makes his R&B sound unique. Like we mentioned Brent Faiyaz a few reviews back of being that like toxic R&B artist.
Yep.
He ain't got nothing on Future. He ain't got nothing on Future.
I know. Future was, and I would say still is, one of the leader in toxic masculine activities, bro. He's...
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. For everyone watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. We're on our way to 5,000. Please make sure you're subscribed, like this video, and of course, leave us a comment. My name is Adriel Smiley, aka AdrielSmiley.com, aka Adriel Smiley Official, aka The Godfather, and we're here with His Royal Highness, aka the Bunny, King Grant.
What's happening, people? We're back. It's Album Mode. This time we're back with the famed duo, Metro Boomin and Future. We still don't trust you.
2/3 of the biggest three.
Allegedly. I mean, that's if you were to listen to them, that's how they would tell it. Yeah, we're back with this duo between Future and Metro Boomin. I feel like we delved deep into the history of the group.
Yeah.
And how significant they are to hip hop in general in the previous review that we did. So I think that this is more of just, I feel like it's almost like a bonus for me personally.
A bonus review?
This felt like not even a full bonus review, but like almost like a bonus album. The first one felt like leading up to this, the first one felt like this is the release, and then the second one was kind of like, I guess it's still coming out. Like, what can stand up to the first one? The explosivity of the first one, you know?
It was almost like the first one was the single for the second one.
Yeah.
Because all our eyes were on them and what they were going to do next, because that first one was so explosive. Like That is still #1 as we speak. A bunch of moving parts, I'll say, between other members of the industry. So I think they did it right in terms of the order. I thought about that with this one. I was like, what if this one came first? They actually told us about the two of them. And I think obviously the intro of this one wouldn't make sense on the first one. But what if this one came first? I think they did it right. That one being first, I think, was the right move. I think it had us, prepped and ready for this one. So I'm excited to see more from Future and Metro. The one thing that I think stands out to me is that there was really no release other than the trailer, which their trailers may look cool, but we're not learning anything. There's no information in these trailers. And no single. No single for the second one. There's no single for the first one. So Future kind of having this power of, even though he has had a bunch of great singles throughout his career, really establishing himself as an album artist and saying, listen, back-to-back albums, not a single in sight.
Yeah, which is a little bit surprising to me, because when I do think of Future, I think of a singles artist, unless it's DS2.
Yeah.
Or maybe there was that album, Pluto X Baby Pluto. That was a good time. So I was a little bit surprised by that. I'm surprised by the rollout of this project, but hey, if Future wants to become more of an album artist later into his career, have at it. I mean, that's most artists do that.
Yeah. As they get further along, they become more album artists.
Yeah.
And Future, I think why I really like this from him is when you think about someone who almost drops too often. Drake has been in that conversation over the past 2 years, but Future is really the guy. Like, that's how he got here, was the 3 mixtapes in 1 year. Like, this is his MO. So you think about an artist who his fans are accustomed to him dropping very often, I think he's #1 in that category, because I think there's a lot of artists who, if they dropped, 45 songs in a month, it would be a little bit of a different tone. So I think it's no secret that he is the one of all the people to drop basically two albums in a 3-week span. Yeah. And we're like, all right, let's hear both of them. And technically, it's 3 projects.
Yeah, that's what Metro Boomin is saying, that it's actually 3 albums.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty interesting. The second disc, which has no name, just second disc, which is 7 songs, it really reminded me of when Future dropped Future and Hendrix back to back. I think a lot of people were really more into the Hendrix than the Future. And I guess didn't know that he could drop a full project of that Hendrix type of Future. But what do you think about that of him dropping these two projects with like basically two different sounds?
I'm a fan of it because it allows you to at least showcase your ability. I was just, you were mentioning how you're more of a Hendrix person than a Future person. I'm like, Future had Mask Off on it.
I think most people are more Hendrix people. I think Future definitely had hits on it, but I think I've actually heard from people personally that Hendrix was one of the albums that they were like, okay, this Future guy has something to him.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I think it's cool. I do think he is one of very few people that can actually do that. I think you have to get to like a level, like there has to be like two things. Your artistic ethos has to allow for it. So you can't be like, if Kendrick Lamar, or not even Kendrick Lamar, I don't like, what's a even better example? If Rihanna came out, oh no, actually, if she did it back-to-back albums, that would be crazy.
Yeah. We would love that. We would love that.
Let's say, okay, how about if J. Cole did back-to-back albums?
Rest in peace.
If he did back-to-back albums like this, it would be like, this is like kind of like weird, right? But Future is kind of like Gucci Mane, where it's like, bro, I can drop an album once a week.
We're here for it.
Yeah, once a week for 52 weeks. So I think that it has to allow for that, and it also has to allow for the musical versatility, which I think that Future has been able to establish. There's the sad Future, there's the banger Future. There's a Future that doesn't have the auto-tune.
Yep.
Right? And then there's a Future that does have the auto-tune. So I like that he can do that. And I like that he is adding it to like it wasn't just like a gimmick one time. It's like a repertoire type of thing where I'm going to release twice, in a very short span of time, bro. It's been only, 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
No, this is his thing. Looking through his albums, we're almost underestimating how often he does this. I think it's his 4th time dropping 2 albums in 1 year. And so it's almost his MO at this point where we're not saying he's overdoing it. This is normal for him. If he drops 1 album, he's underdoing it. So I really like that he has that. What I thought about this, and I think this leads into production, is 2 things. One, this is what we've been begging Drake to do for it feels like a decade. Give us the rap album. Give us the more R&B, softer album. Now, we see Future do it, and it's successful. We're stopping Drake from doing it. Even, it doesn't have to be in the same way. It could be a double disc. But I think now I'm seeing Future, this is a 2nd time doing it, of one album is one entire sound, and this album is a whole different sound. That's something we've been asking Drake to do for a long time, and, still.
Hey, that's the thing for Drake fans. They're caught in the middle with him, because I feel like he's just caught in the middle on every album that he ever does. He's always trying to grab multiple pieces of himself instead of trying to concentrate on one aspect and hone it. I think the closest example actually is Scorpion.
Scorpion is the closest, yeah.
Yeah, Scorpion, where the first half was mostly rap and then the back half was mostly R&B.
Yeah.
I'm a person to say that the first half of Scorpion was like, if he just released that, we would be talking about
so differently.
Yeah, we would.
And I love some songs in the back half, but I think the first half on its own.
Yeah, like it was like Sandra's Rose, 8 out of 10. Nonstop, I think.
Yep, Nonstop's on there. Yep.
So Diplomatic Community. No, that was
a Lucy beforehand. Yeah.
So there was a lot of good ones, and then on the back half, there's like
Blue Tint and
Blue
songs
Tint
like that.
with Young Thug, Ratchet Happy Birthday, which I like.
Yes.
Some people don't like that one, but I like that one.
Has a lot of hate for that one.
So there's a lot of songs, and then also there's the hit songs on it, obviously. So but Future, I feel like he is like rap album. Rap me, bangers me.
Yeah.
Melodic lover man over here type of me. So, I think that it's working. Drake, hey, man, I like how we're talking about Drake in the Future review.
He's going to come up again. He's going to come up again.
Yeah, so I think that it's working. I just genuinely think like this album cycle, like type of way to release albums in this cycle is working a lot for Future, because I feel like when Future does this is all people talk about for like a month or 2 months. It's just the Future albums.
Yeah, I think exciting too to hear they have a tour coming.
Yeah, that just happened today. That just got released today.
I'm really excited to see what kind of venues they're going to do. We talked about it last week of how big Future is in terms of a touring artist compared to his contemporaries. I'm excited to see him prove me wrong and do these really big venues. And the last thing before we talk about production is The Weeknd on here. I think he probably has the best feature on here. I think that goes without saying. Your boy came and did it big again. But Production wise on here, I'm not gonna actually highlight any of these songs per se because I think I'll just throw this in at the top, and whatever we talk about, think of this as we talk about it. But how many of these songs could have been Weeknd songs, production wise? And the more I thought about it, I said, this is like Metro gave Future the Weeknd pack. And the Weeknd is now more of, I would say, a dance pop R&B artist and just a strict R&B pop artist. But there's a lot on here that are more the Weeknd's vibe than Future's vibe. And I thought about this in comparing this album to Hendrix when he was in his R&B bag at that time. That's Future's kind of R&B. That's his style of R&B. But a lot on here really resembles the Weeknd style. And there's, of course, some other ones that are not the Weeknd specific where there's more sampling than Future's kind of ever had before. But I just wanted to put that in everyone's brain when we start this because a lot of the production on here sounds like it was from that Weeknd pack.
I'd never really considered that, to be honest. But now that you're bringing it up, I can see that, you know, obviously the songs that he's on.
Yes.
So, like, We Still Don't Trust You, All to Myself. But even, like, Hands on My Face, Jealous could have definitely been. So, wow. Wow. I was not thinking about that. But, you know, it's so funny. I did mention in my notes, I'm like, oh, yeah, the Weeknd's, like, motif, like that dark synth pop type of motif and aesthetic is working for Future.
Yeah.
But I didn't really, was like, oh, these are could have just been the Weeknd songs.
100%. And it's funny because I think that what makes Metro so amazing is that it wasn't that noticeable when to me it really almost should have been because...
Who told you?
who put me on?
Yeah, who told you?
Who's on my line? The difference in vocal ability between The Weeknd and Future is vast.
Yes, it is.
And so when you think of it that way of Metro's making these songs that fit someone who could sing like this and someone who can kind of sort of sing maybe sort of kind of like this. So big shout out to Metro because I think that's a talent that this sound fits like a glove for both of these gentlemen.
Yeah, which is incredible because you think of like We Still Don't Trust You. It's basically using I would say After Hours. Like it's this really empty but synth based style of production. Like with like a lot of boop, boop, boop. And I think that it uses The Weeknd well. This is probably one of the songs that I would say that uses The Weeknd the best because people like Travis Scott or even Drake to an extent, when The Weeknd is featured on their music, they use him just as a vocalist.
Yeah.
They're trying to get like, you know, because they're enticed by him sounding like Michael Jackson. So they're like, oh yeah, just get Michael Jackson 2.0, just sing on my track, right? Versus in We Still Don't Trust You, which is probably the best example, is like using The Weeknd as kind of like the guy who sets the stage.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Instead of standing on your stage and singing off of it, he's setting the stage. He has all the ooh, ah, in the background and allowing somebody else to stand on the stage. I think it works better.
I agree with you.
I think it works better, and it's kind of like Brad Pitt, where people used to think Brad Pitt, well, like, this is a leading man, right? Because of the way Brad Pitt looks, right? And he's a very stunning individual, and he draws so much attention. But then you look at all of Brad Pitt's, like, work, like, his best work is, like, when he's a supporting, like, he's, like, one of the best supporting actors ever, but he looks like a leading man. And I feel like the same thing is happening with The Weeknd, like, because his vocal ability is so spectacular and so stunning that people are like, vocalist 24/7, just get him on to do the vocals. But it's like, actually, if you just get him to set the tone, then we're actually cooking with gas, right? So I feel like that's what's happening.
I'm happy you brought up We Still Don't Trust You. That intro is phenomenal. I think to start off this project, especially after what the first project was, I think that's a great foresight by Metro and Future because there was no We Still Don't Trust You in the first project.
Yeah.
So coming into this one, we did not know this is what we were getting. And to hear this energy on the first song, you're like, okay, things are different. Things are very different here. And so I like that song a lot. I think they did a great job of kind of setting the tone with that one.
Yeah.
I think that it's so funny to hear Future like still have that talk he has on his rap records, on his R&B records. And with the production, I think it's kind of an interesting mix. I want to talk about one I didn't care for. I know we're showing some love right now, but there's one song in particular that I was like, every listen I said, do we need to put this on here?
Which one?
Drink and Dance.
Drink and Dance.
Drink and Dance was like, why? Why?
Yikes. It was such a weird feeling to go from the high They're like, oh wow, we're doing some serious work here to come down to be like, why is this on the album?
When I heard that, I was like, Future's never getting a 10 from me. That I'm like, he can't help himself. There are these songs that he puts on every single project. I've said this every single Future review that don't need to be on there, and these songs are clear skips, and he can't help himself. This is song number 2.
I know.
Song number 2.
We went from 1 to 2.
And it's like, We Still Don't Trust You is probably one of the standouts of the entire project of both discs.
Yeah.
When people are like, oh my gosh, what a great part of the album. And to go right afterwards with Drink and Dance.
Yeah, which is just like a guitar, like, I guess it's like guitar-led, melodic R&B, trap. But I feel like Future's voice is really grating against the guitar. Like, I feel like it doesn't
work.
It doesn't, it's not correlating properly. Like, it's not going together properly. And it's also just like really bland. Really, really bland. Consider it, like, you think about Future's music and how crazy it sounds, like something like Mask Off or Commas, or even like
March Madness,
right? Tony Montana.
Yeah.
Right? These songs are like really like either hard hitting or bouncy in some sort of way. Like, think about Diamonds Dancing.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Then you have Drink and Dance, where it's like it's almost, I feel like it's trying to be a dance song almost a little bit.
It is. And then it kind of changes its mind.
Yeah. So like that's a flub. I feel like that happens a lot on We Still Don't Trust You. Like, there's a section on this album where it's just like you have like the check marks on your Spotify.
Yeah.
And then there's just like a black hole in the middle of this album for me. This sequence of Overload, Gracious, Beat It, Always Be My Fault. Oh, actually, not Always Be My Fault. And One Big Family. That's a black hole for me.
Get him out of here.
I think that they have like the same issue that I was just talking about, where it's like really generic production. Like really, really still. And it's so odd to say that about Metro Boomin's music and Future's music, where you're just like, I've heard this beat a million times. Like, One Big Family, I feel like I've heard that a million times. I think Overload is probably like the biggest culprit. Yeah, Overload is like the biggest culprit. I've heard that. Roddy Ricch has made a song on that. Rod Wave has made a song on that. Lil Baby.
I don't have a problem with Overload production-wise.
Yeah.
I just think what he did with it made it sound more bland.
Right.
I think that when it comes to that kind of production, all the guys you named, to me, Future's gonna have the better song out of all of those guys on that kind of song. Now, we don't need it from every last one of you for sure, but out of the people you named, I feel like he would make the best song. But Overload wasn't that.
Yeah. Maybe Roddy Ricch though. I would like a Roddy Ricch.
Right? Yeah. Roddy, come back outside.
Yeah. Where is he? Where is Roddy Ricch? Anyways, so that's my biggest gripe with the production. I would say like half of this project, is just like really bland, really, really, really bland. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, Metro's music doesn't sound like this. Future's music doesn't sound like this. So they hit like a dry spell, almost like where they put out too much music. Like, they released a first album and then this. Remember, this is 25 songs.
I think this is Future's, problem with the R&B side of Future. I feel like that rap side is still on his shoulder, giving pointers. And on the R&B side, I think that's why I mentioned The Weeknd earlier, is those songs that have The Weeknd influence are the best production to me on the first half. And there's two that I want to really highlight, because one is a reminder for me of one of my favorite Future songs of all time.
Yeah.
And another one is kind of new for Future, and that's Love Bad Bitches. I think that production style with Brownstone and that kind of like sample interpolation, not really Future style. That's more of like a mid-career Tory Lanez style. This is what you would get on a Chicks tape.
Oh.
And
what a throwback.
I think that it's interesting that this production, to me, if you take Future out of it, you could hear so many actual R&B artists on this. Okay. I could hear her on this. I could hear Jasmine Sullivan on this. And Future's voice is just not really always a match when the production is smoother. And his content as well always is going to stay the same.
Yeah.
Like, if you heard this beat and didn't hear any lyrics, and guess what the song's about? You're thinking love, a deep heartbreak. You would not guess Love Bad Bitches is the course of this song. So that's one. And then this one is a song that I think I like the song because it reminds me of another song, which is Mile High Memories. This is probably one of the beats that like I think of Future in this sound.
Yeah.
And this is actually the kind of R&B that I don't like. But to me, Future's not a singer at all. To me, he's a rapper who makes melodies.
Okay.
I think when I
He's
hear
a melodic rapper.
melodic rapper, but I hear R&B artists sing on this kind of production, and that's not really my favorite. But it reminds me of Throwaway from the Monster mixtape, the second half.
Oh, wait, no. Wait, which song are we talking about?
Mile High Memories.
No, the first one.
Throwaway from the Monster mix, the second half of Throwaway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The second half of Throwaway, that's what this reminds me of. And I think that Future is especially good on this pace of song.
Okay.
And that's really what shows his versatility is there's songs like March Madness, which are so fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
He's keeping up with the beat. A song like Mile High Memories is pretty slow. And he's able to still kind of hang on this song without it being as fast. So those are two that I think stood out to me. I have one that's my favorite, but I want to hear more production from you before I get to my favorite production on here.
Wait. Real quick. Which song were you talking about at the very, very beginning that you were comparing Mile High Memories to?
Throwaway.
But before that?
I only compared it to Throwaway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
The second half of Throwaway. Second half.
Right. So, for me, when it comes to production, one of my favorites is This Sunday.
Yes.
I think that it's basically, I mean, I don't know if Future is making fun of Drake in this track because he because he is interpolating
Feel No Ways.
Feel No Ways, right? Which is a good interpolation, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's good, a little bit stilted, like wasn't 100% there, but it was really interesting to hear him interpolate somebody that he is actively in the middle of a beef with.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting. I think that pace, I agree with the pacing when you were talking about. I think the pacing of some of his songs, like if it's slow, Future kind of has to be doing some actual vocal like dancing for it to sound interesting. Because if he doesn't, then you have like a song like Right For You, maybe I'm talking about here.
My God, I think it is Right For You. Yeah.
No, not Right For You. Right For You I had a problem with, but Gracious. It kind of gets like Gracious where it's like it's slow and I feel like he's
Gracious is a Ty Dolla $ign song. Like
Future's on it too?
No, but like that song Future kind of ruins if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the production on that song is necessarily bad. I just think like you tried to futurify a Ty Dolla $ign song.
And it didn't work.
And it didn't work. Yeah. Like there's moments like that on here that I'm like, I see where you're going with this, but I think Future, but I also think he's so known as a street artist that it's hard to get out of that in a sense. Because I think there's some of these songs that maybe you could turn up the R&B a little bit more and turn the hip hop a little bit down and it'd make these songs better. And Future could still hang. But I think on a song like Gracious, it's like, let Ty cook. Let this be a Ty Dolla $ign song that Future is on. And I think that this is almost the other way. Because this song, production-wise, is one of my favorites. This is a sound that Future does not do enough.
The one with Ty Dolla $ign?
Yeah, the production on this song.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's something that Future does not do enough. But I feel like it doesn't help the song. But to me, my favorite production on here is going to be my last piece of production.
Okay.
I kind of hope this song becomes one of those songs that everyone starts rapping on at the radio stations.
Okay.
It's amazing. And I think that that's one of those songs that I said, if this was 2007, oh my goodness. If we got the remix of this with 4 dudes on it, like this would totally bang and this would be fun.
Yeah.
And I think that it's still fun for Future. He is following the R&B rules of the interlude being one of the better songs. He's following the rules with that one. But I do think that amazing this production it's just light, fun, a little bouncy. That melody,
it's almost industrial. The sounds,
yeah,
like that it's almost like a metal pipe or something. Like
yes,
that
yeah, like almost instead of a snare.
Yeah,
I guess with a snare because the snare is still on it. But that's a song to me that I'm like, I like Future on it. It's one of my favorite songs on here. But I do think this is a song that if had someone else on it, I don't know who, but other people on it, it could be taken to another level.
Yeah, I agree. I will say on the second disc, that intro into Nobody Knows My Struggle.
Yep.
That's a great transition. And I felt like it really did feel like, okay, we're in the second disc.
Yeah.
Like there was a Immediate pace pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately it's darker.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows my struggle is so much darker than everything else that's happening. The trap, the trap drums are going crazy. So I wanna highlight that because I'm like, the second half is actually pretty good.
And the second half, I think, is
The second
is
disc,
seven,
sorry.
the second disc might be 7 for 7.
Yeah.
But I think that's like a reward. You made it through the first half.
Yeah, you made it through the first 19 songs.
You know, here's what you get for making it through the first 18 songs.
Mhm.
Because I do think that there is some great stuff on the first half, but it gets to a point when even when I'm listening in full now,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Like here's the next one. Here comes
Like,
the next
especially the part that you hate the most, the part of the album you hate the most,
Yeah.
Gracious, Overload, Beat It. When I'm at that part of the project, I'm like, are we at the end yet? Are we at the end yet? And I think, before we talk about lyrics, this J. Cole verse on Red Leather as the outro of the first half,
one.
if all this hadn't happened, I think this would be the highlight of this project. Because I do think that him and Future ending his project with a 7-minute rap song featuring J. Cole and the way they're going back and forth, that's a hip hop moment.
Yeah.
And I think that because of everything else that has happened, J. Cole doesn't hold the same weight anymore, and is he switching sides? And it's kind of for the wrong reasons. But
Yeah.
I do think that was a great choice for them as an outro
Yeah.
to the first half. You mentioned
Maybe they were passing the torch. Maybe J. Cole was giving up his third rank spot over to Future.
Scary. I want to talk a little bit about the song I mentioned earlier, Mile High Memories.
Yep.
Because, of course, the production reminded me a little bit of Throwaway the second half, but it was what he was saying that reminded me of the second half. And Future, I said before, is known for some of the most outrageous bars in hip hop. But what I'm about to say to you, think of all this as if you know Future. Think of all this as if you know who he's talking about. I think about all this as if you are who he's talking about. And how does it make you feel?
Okay.
You can fuck on him as long as you think about me. In the other room on the phone, you was texting me. You can fuck on him as long as you think about me. None of it's real. We was just faking how to love. Try to pretend I wasn't missing you at all. Give me your soul, hundreds, 1,000 feet above the clouds. And then at the end of that, he says, I try to forget so I can medicate, introduce her to the jetway. It could be God himself. Anyone after me is a downgrade. Future, talk that talk. Let him know what it is. That's the kind of Future that I think makes his R&B sound unique. Like we mentioned Brent Faiyaz a few reviews back of being that like toxic R&B artist.
Yep.
He ain't got nothing on Future. He ain't got nothing on Future.
I know. Future was, and I would say still is, one of the leader in toxic masculine activities, bro. He is the way that he, I wouldn't say mastered is maybe like, I don't even know if the correct thing is to say mastered.
He's mastered it.
But Future is, I mean, he has that meme where he's on the phone like this, you know, and everybody's sending like that crazy, stupid ass message where it's like, I saw the eclipse today. I saw the moon pass in front of the sun, and it just reminded me of how I used to pass by you, and how we used to meet.
Scary.
So his ability to just say like the craziest shit and get away with it and be smooth with it, I would say is mastered, and I think that that's a great example. Another track that I really, really like from him, just like flow, lyrics, is Nights Like This, where I mentioned on the first album, We Don't Trust You, that he's kind of gone for this like level of repetition that is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think on All For This, or Nights Like This, sorry, he's really doing well at it. I'm trying to fucking find the lyrics. This is Future when he's going into the chorus. He's like, nights like this, I need all of you. Nights like this, I send a car for you. Nights like this, it's hard to talk to you. Nights like this, I need all of you. Nights like this, I send a car for you. Night like, you my little thought, I just need to see. You just want to fuck. I know what you need. I know on your side. You gonna be a freak. I'm trying to leave you my main squeeze. Nights like this, I need all of you. So this is what I'm talking about right here. Nights like this, I need all of you. Send a car for you, right? You my little thought. I just need to see. bruh. What, like, getting away, like, he gets away with some comments, bro. Like,
100%.
calling a girl my little thought. I just want to see you fuck. I know what you need, right? I know on your side you gonna be a freak. What does that mean?
We know what it means.
What does that mean? So I think that that's one of my favorite things about Future is like that hook.
Mm-hmm.
That nights like this, bang, nights like this, nights like this, nights like this. Great repetition, but also a little bit of sneaky, freaky.
No, Sneaky Freaky is definitely Future. Who's DJ Freak Nasty? Like, Future is king of the Sneaky Freaky.
Right.
I think my last thing about lyrics, and this is not even lyrics to look at, go back to the Drake interpolation on Feel Away.
Yeah.
I went to listen to Feel No Ways right after that, and because like
me too.
I was like, let me hear Feel No Ways again, and I think that there's something lyrically about Future that is so different in terms of when he gets into that slow down bag that I think I wonder what it is that doesn't make those songs become popular, because a lot of his hits are not those kind of songs.
Yeah.
And I guess this is more about like his career and the cohesiveness of the project, but I thought that would Feel Away because I thought I liked his interpolation. I'm not as good as the original.
I agree.
But I did like his interpolation. And I always wonder what about these songs don't always hit the same in terms of the charts for Future. So that's one thing I've been thinking about with this project, because it's almost two different sides in a way. Like, there's this side, and are any of these songs going to be what it is? Is the Weeknd bag going to really work for him? So for me, lyrically, it's his Future, man. Like, everything he's said on here, he said before.
Yeah, I would think that when I'm thinking about the lyrics, now I was like thinking about, okay, his singing, right? And I feel as though on some of the songs, it feels like he's straining, bro.
He's straining in a lot of his songs.
Like, Right For You is like, yo, I feel like I get to the point where I'm like, you should stop singing because it's going to damage your voice. Like, the level of strain, and it's so odd. Like, on other songs, it kind of sounded, the strain, it wasn't a strain, it was more of like a despair.
Yes.
Right? Where he's like, I can't believe this is happening. This is such a huge mistake. But it is shifted into like he is using the wrong part of his body.
Tell him.
Because now it's like, it sounds like a strain.
No, and I like that you brought up the despair part, because that's what makes it more, I guess, irritating to hear, because you hear the parts where there is a despair. So you know this is not his only way he does it. There is a way he can sing better with a more despair feeling and not sound strained. What it really reminds me of is Young Thug before the auto-tune. If anyone knows Young Thug before, like, he really popped out, and the auto-tune days, he was still singing, but he was just giving it, like, whether he could hit the note or not. So that's what it really reminds me of. So I think lyrically on this album, Future is still in the same place for me. I think I mentioned this on the last project. There's a little Future can do to, I guess, change how I think of him lyrically. I think that this project doesn't really change that. And I want to talk about what this means for his career, because that's something I thought of with everything else going on in hip hop. Because Future, the rumor is that him and Drake don't really have a problem. He was kind of driving the car when someone was shooting at Drake.
Okay.
And so that's why he's catching strays.
Okay.
That the problem is more Metro and Kendrick than Future himself. But Future can't even get into a beef because lyrically he's just not there.
Yeah, that's so true.
and it's like we haven't thought about that. And other people apply this too. I think Travis Scott is in this as well, and some of the other rappers. But I think, like, thinking about Future in this case is, and this is kind of why I've always been harder on him, is that, like, think about where would his diss track go? Like, what would that sound like? And when you think about what Ross dropped on the weekend and how that sounds, and where Ross is lyrically, even if it's not deep, there's still an ability there. That's kind of what Future has proven to me is, to me, he's like the MVP of being the least skilled of rapping. And I think that this album just solidifies that even more.
Right.
Least skilled rapping and least skilled singing, I make the best out of it. And they used to have that, I mean, they always have that question on the GM survey in the NBA of who does the most with the least. Future, to me, is that. Does the most with the least.
Yeah.
And I think in this point in his career, I'm giving him credit for that.
Wow.
He's getting points for that.
That's crazy.
I think that if you somehow could quantify his skill set, I don't think you would think a rapper would be this successful. I think even all the rappers who are successful, who are not quote unquote lyrical, the MC Hammers, the Nellies, like think about Nelly's rapping compared to Future's rapping. Like,
yeah, it's a different level. I think that Future, I'm so surprised by that, you giving him major credit for that. I think that Future, I'm trying to think of like what is his major strength, and I think it's maybe repetition and like aesthetic.
yeah.
I think that his ability to exist within the song and kind of like become like almost like a cybernetic mess within like the rest of the song is dope. But I think that a Future diss song is interesting. I think it would be like a hit song though. You would have to make it like a hit song.
He has no choice.
It would have to be like a hit song that uses similar lyrics that he already does, but it has to be about a person. Right? I think that his music can actually make a diss track, but it would sound like his other work.
I kind of get what you're saying because I feel like he has talked down on other rappers in his music. So if he just makes that more direct.
Yeah.
But I'll say this again. I think that I don't know that that's really something that people want to hear when it comes to diss records.
Yep.
I think Drake is probably the person who's done the best job of mixing the two, of blending the two. But I think traditionally for diss records, that hasn't been what it really is. So for me and how this affects his career, I think this helps it. I think this project helps his career. This album is not getting, I think, as much love as the first project.
No.
But there are people who are saying they like it better. And
that's stunning to me.
And so I think that being the case, period, to me is a win for him.
Okay.
Because I think that what a bigger bomb the first project was, what was said on there, even the production on the first project, I think is better than on this project.
I agree.
So for that project to be as good as it was, and people are still saying, nah, like this one better, it shows that there's still an audience for that other side of Future that maybe we think he's not the greatest
at. Who are you talking to? People from Atlanta?
No, Atlanta likes the first one.
You feel like you're talking to big time Atlantans.
I think it's people, like, I think this is part of where I came in. Like, Future as a rapper doesn't always entice a lot of people. I think there's some people who it's like, I can't tell the difference between him and anybody else. But Future, I think, as an R&B artist, is still somewhat unique. Even though he can't sing like an actual R&B artist, he's still somewhat unique because the rappers making the kind of rap that Future makes are not making the kind of R&B that Future makes.
I agree. So I think that for his career, I think it's neutral. I don't feel like I don't feel like it's making any.
Is that our first neutral?
I think so.
Damn.
I think so. Like if this didn't exist, like would it matter that much to his? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Right. So I'm like, I mean, there's some additional disses from The Weeknd. Oh, I didn't even mention the disses from The Weeknd where he's talking about like
Drake and Baka
and how his team is making TikToks. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought that was genuinely hilarious. I think you can even hear The Weeknd like laughing while he says that.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. Actually, let me get the exact lyrics.
He says, they could never diss my brother's baby when they got leaks in their operation. I thank God I never signed my life away. And we never do the big talk. No, 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 no. They shoot us making TikToks. Got us laughing in the Lambo. I promise that I got your back.
So he actually is laughing when he sings that, which is my favorite part because usually when The Weeknd like sings his music, it's direct. Like he just sings, he's performing it, you know. Versus this, he's like, I feel like he's saying it, you know. There's a difference.
He's almost being more direct in a way.
Yeah.
In this part, I like The Weeknd getting involved in this.
Me too.
This is like R and beef.
Yeah.
So
does it exist in R&B? Are there beefs in R&B?
Yes.
But like this though, where people are like dissing people.
Not like this.
Yeah.
Not
like this.
But I love
that.
I like The Weeknd getting involved.
Me too.
I think also this helps Future's career because he's now more aligned with Metro and The Weeknd than ever before. I think this is like him and The Weeknd obviously were huge collaborators, always had songs together, him and Metro as well. But I think them making themselves the biggest three and kind of choosing their side of, okay, this is us three standing together.
Yeah.
I think that's The Weeknd is his new stimulus package. Now, as we've seen, it's not the same as the Drake stimulus package, but I think that's not a bad stimulus to fall back on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're here with Playboi Carti and Madonna trying to do number ones, you know, and then now you're here with Metro and Future, that sounds like a Sounds like a nice package.
No.
Sounds like a nice deal.
100%. Let's talk about the cover.
I love the cover, bro. It looks so crazy. It looks so cool.
Better than the first one?
Yeah, I think I like it better than the first one. I like the way Future's dreadlocks, like they're. I feel like they seem shorter.
They do seem shorter.
They seem shorter, but they're more like encasing his head. I like the glasses in that too. I like that they basically have like the same pose, except their head is tilted in different directions. And I like the black and white. Like it looks awesome. I think it looks incredible.
I think this cover actually also matches the music as well for this one, it feels like. But I like this cover better than the other one too.
Yeah.
And so if they could have switched it around, because I think both covers are great. They went 2 for 2 with the covers.
Yeah, for sure.
But
this would have been meaner for the first one for sure.
Yeah, so I like this cover as well. To me, these 2 covers are actually like vinyls I would cop just for the cover.
For the cover, yeah.
But this is not going to be a vinyl cop for me. I think that first half has just too many. Especially the second song. Sorry, we're back again. The second song being so bad, is insane.
That's kind of a letdown because you're like, "Woo, let's do this," and then you're like, "Oh, why are we doing this?"
Because We Still Don't Trust You is great, but it is actually almost just an intro. Like it's not just an intro. You can listen to it outside of that, of course, but it really is essentially an intro to what we're getting into. And so it being so great is like a bonus of like, okay, this is the intro and this is fire. And then to head right into Drink and Dance, it's like downhill from there. So not a vinyl cop for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I think that the cover, like you could just get it for the cover, frame it or some shit like that. But for strictly the music, I can't do it. I can't do it, Chief. Cannot do it.
Yeah, I think as we're talking about the cover and the cover of the project, I think Future and Metro are a legendary combination.
Yeah, with their covers.
This just in our generation of music, and their past works don't have them both on the cover as much together. And so I think these 2 will be legendary and iconic for that reason. Because DS2 is not the 2 of them on the cover.
DS2, never forget DS2 is a stock image.
Yep.
That is a stock image that they found for
that'll never get old.
That is so crazy.
And I think that like seeing these 2 on the cover together, as time goes on, this will be more and more important because, again, them as a combo in hip hop, very, very influential. And some of the other combos of hip hop that are producer-rapper are not on album covers together. That's just not something we see that often. So I think for that reason, this is going to be a cover I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is definitely one of the better ones, too, because I'm even looking back, it's better than Purple Rain. Yeah. Kind of better than Evil. It's like Hendrix is really good.
These are the moments when you see that Metro is helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like he hits a lot of covers that I really don't care for.
Yeah. Diamonds, What a Time to Be Alive, the diamonds on that are also a stock image.
Evil, apparently.
Yeah, so I'm happy for Metro at least bringing that extra spritz to the rest of the project. Yes. Okay. Now, is it a no skips, yes or no?
There's some skips.
Okay.
Definitely some skips.
So the moment that we've all been waiting for. Adriel, I want to hear your score for Metro Boomin and Future. We Still Don't Trust You.
I think that We Still Don't Trust You by Metro and Future is a 6.5 for me.
Wow.
It honestly was at a 7, and I was thinking about it being an 8. And it probably lost some points today. The listens I had today, because I think that there's just some songs on here that I'm not gonna really go to listen to. I think what this project has a lot of is you can listen to it. Like this to me is probably one of the better kickback projects Future has. Like at the after party or at the function. If it's not a turn up, this is one of the better projects for that. But I feel like there's way too many songs on here and not enough that I'm gonna go back to. So no, sorry. Let's stick with that 7. Let's stick with that 7. I think a 7 is adequate.
Wow.
The back 7 aren't good enough for me.
Okay.
That I feel like that's fair. So 7 out of 10. We Still Don't Trust You, Future, and Metro Boomin.
All right. So for me, Future, Metro Boomin, We Still Don't Trust You. It's a 4 out of 10.
Ouch.
It's a 4 out of 10. I think that the singing is strained. I think that I mentioned it before, like sometimes the singing doesn't like match the production.
No.
Sometimes the production is just like boring. But then there's good times. The Weeknd, I've been critical of The Weeknd's features for a long time, actually. And this is one of the first times that I'm like, they're using him properly. and he's getting used multiple times, and it all sounds good. The weekend feature is really good. I think that the back disc, when you're going from like intro, nobody knows my struggle, all my life, it's good. It's good work, right? But there's too much negative for me for it to be like this is even over a 5. I can't give it over a 5.
Wow.
I can't.
Wow.
And even
who would have thought that I would have the higher score?
I did, because even on the previous one, you were like, this is a 9 out of 10, almost 10 out of 10. I'm like, are you crazy?
On the first one?
Isn't that what you said?
No.
What did you give out a 9 out of 10 recently? And I'm like, you're nuts.
The J. Cole.
Oh yeah, you're nuts for that.
Yeah. No, I still stand by it.
Yeah, so I gave the previous. I gave We Don't Trust You an 8.5, and you gave it like a 7.5 or an 8.
I gave it a 7.
Right. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised you consider this as good as the previous one.
I think I'll probably listen to the last half of this,
Yeah.
like the disc 2.
Yeah.
Maybe as much as I listened to the first one.
Okay. That's surprising, but you know what? You can do what you want.
Live your truth.
Yeah, live your truth. And yeah, so that's my score. Adriel, I wanted to shout out everybody that's watching the Album Mode Podcast. Make sure everybody follows Album Mode Podcast on all the social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Album Mode Pod. Of course, subscribe to the Album Mode Pod on YouTube. I want to see everybody in the comments. I love talking to the people in the comments. Yes, people, I'm talking to you in the comments. No, I am not talking to you with the official Album Mode account. I'm in there as a regular citizen.
As a civilian.
Yeah, I'm a civilian out there, because I think that it's better to just like engage in the discourse as a regular person.
There you go.
And I would like to thank everybody who's watching this episode. So, Adriel, make sure you know yourself and know your worth.
Later days.